toxic shock. The shooting organisations want a ban on lead. Is this shooting's Brexit?
It's down to 2 or 3 organisations and a cartridge company that suddenly decided that we know better.
Montería too, this time it's personal. Not really, but we're back in Portugal with Paul hunting farmland wild boar, plantation red deer, plus he gets practical with the eucalyptus crop.
We'll get them botched up and then we'll have a nice little pair of sticks. Oh yes.
We have news, we have Hunting YouTube. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. The announcement came on Monday this week. Lead shot for game, plastic cartridge wads and plastic cartridge shells will be voluntarily banned in the UK by 2025, say 9 shooting and land-owning organisations. They got the newspaper headlines they wanted. They are not getting the social media they want. The organisations are hurting.
It's left me in a quandary. Why hasn't everybody been privy to all the goings on behind the doors, you know? Why hasn't everybody been consulted? And that's the biggest problem that I've got, because it's down to 2 or 3 organisations and a cartridge company that suddenly decided that we know better. And we are prepared and bugger anybody else.
High bird shooters like Dave are one group of people criticising the decision. His cartridge costs are going to go up tenfold unless the cartridge companies can work out how to deliver steel shot effectively in non-plastic cups. Another group are the owners of nice old English guns. But Basque Northern Director Duncan Thomas points out you get the organisations you vote for.
We absolutely understand and respect the comments that have been made regarding the lack of consultation, for example, and we get that. What we have to remember is that Basque is an association. It's only good as the people that support it, contribute and make the whole organisation work. It's a massive team effort. We have an elected council who set the strategic objectives. The chief exec and the team then disseminate that down, and the regional teams then deliver what we need to do. So let's make it absolutely clear. The people that you elected made these decisions and we 100% support them. There's always a need for feedback to be fed in, but it's got to be done properly, and ranting on social media is not doing anybody any good.
Should the organisations lead on lead? Should they simply be representative? Should they have consulted more? The good news for the organisations is that shooters accept lead is poisonous and has to go.
Well, we know that lead is toxic. It's toxic to humans and to wildlife. And we know that wild birds do suffer from lead poisoning. Individual birds are found which have been exposed to lead. They may use as grit in their gizzard, or they may mistake it for food, depending on the species. The manner of their feeding makes them more likely to pick up lead shot. So many of them maybe are sifting in the silt at the bottom of wetlands, and so they'll pick up lead shot down there, and they're looking specifically for grit for the gizzard as well. So they maybe sometimes might mistake it for food, or often it will be for grit. There are specific papers looking at kites, grey partridges, buzzards, I believe, in Europe. The Californian condor is a very famous example, of course. So there's a wide variety of species that we know have suffered from lead poisoning. Grey partridges have been looked at in quite some detail, and again they will sometimes mistake it for seed when they're foraging.
Even Dave can see some light at the end of this tunnel.
It won't bother me, because the cartridge companies will step up to the plate. They'll find something quite adequate to keep on shooting ethically these, the high pheasant or the high partridge. But what's worrying is, why didn't we wait while the actual government banned it, instead of ourselves, instead of the shooting fraternity going into retreat all the time. You know, we seem to be chipping away at our, you know, our bloody communities and our way of life, which, you know, we seem to be knocking it to pieces all the time.
Here's an example of new cartridge tech, a biodegradable wad disappearing in a glass of water over 12 hours. Thanks to the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust for doing that. While we watch it, here's Dave with his final thoughts.
Well, I know full well that the cartridge companies will step up to the plate and will find something suitable so that we can carry on what we like doing, and the people that like shooting low birds or average birds, they can carry on what they want to do. You know, there's all facets of this shooting world that should be taken into consideration. You know, we shouldn't lose anything. The ratter, the goose man, the pigeon man, they should be able to carry on just as normal. And let's hope that in future our governing bodies, our organisations, take a bit more time and appreciate there's more than just these or them that's created this quandary are involved in shooting and deserve a chance to have their say.
And here's scientist Jen to remind us, well, to paraphrase Bruce Willis in Pulp Fiction, lead's dead, baby, lead's dead.
Lead has fairly recently been classified as a metal for which there's no lower threshold for negative effects. So for some substances, if you can have a little bit of it fairly safely and it won't cause you any problems, but for lead, if you have any exposure, it's known that there will be some effects. It'll be milder if your exposure is lower, but it will cause some problems even at low levels.
Stay up to date with the debate at fchannel/leadban. Many of you will have seen the Fieldsports Nation funded piece on the lead ban, which we put out on Monday. If you haven't, there's a link on the screen now, or it's in the description below. Now from heavy metal to light pop, it's David on the Fieldsports channel, News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. The shooting world is in shock after a gun dog trainer shot his gun dog trainer wife. 67-year-old John Zurich, who trained the Princess Royal's gun dogs, had separated from his 56-year-old wife Debbie, one of the country's leading Clumber Spaniel breeders and trainers. He is in a critical condition after allegedly shooting his wife dead, then turning the gun on himself, according to the Daily Mail. The incident happened on Prime Minister Boris Johnson's 500-acre family estate in Somerset on Saturday. Johnson grew up in the house, which the Zurichs bought in 2013. The Zurichs regularly went to game shoots and were members of the Working Clumber Spaniel Society. Police have opened a murder investigation. A UK deer stalking agent is the latest hunter to be paraded through the Sunday tabloids. Peter Jones, who runs County Deer Stalking and also a hunting YouTube channel, was the victim of a story in The Star. He remains unfazed by the coverage.
Tragically, they didn't give me a lot of notice, as is often the case with these things. I had an email saying they were going to run the story this morning, asked me if I wanted to make a comment. I said I did, and then they proceeded without taking my comment nonetheless. So yeah, what a shame really that we can't have more informed debate really on these type of things.
Are you particularly out of the ordinary as a stalker?
No, and this is the irony of it all, isn't it, really? I'm probably one of thousands of deer managers out there, up and down the countryside, who I think are doing a fabulous job of looking after deer in this country. And, you know, the deer are a credit to us, and it's something we should be talking about and praising, rather than, perhaps as the newspapers refer to as being a little bit sick.
BBC wildlife celebrity Chris Packham was welcomed home last week by a dead animal tied to his gate. Packham slammed the culprits on Twitter. He claims they were offended by recent comments by the television presenter criticising badger culls. The 59-year-old posted pictures of the carcass on social media and said critics should confront him rationally instead of killing innocent animals. Unfortunately, he failed to capture CCTV footage of the culprits. It's not the first time a dead animal has been left on his doorstep. The carcass of a fox was delivered after he complained about hunts. In other Packham-related news, his lobby group, Wild Justice, this week lodged papers seeking a judicial review on the release of pheasants and partridges. Meanwhile, badgers have been drowning in the torrential rain brought to the UK by Storm Dennis. The Daily Mail quotes an expert saying that the animals don't want to leave their sets. Low-lying parts of England and Wales have been flooded after extreme weather whipped across the country. High Peak Badger Group says it rescued this badger after its set flooded. Thanks to Steve Kearney for that one. Here's food for thought for anyone that takes business trips or clients out for lunch. According to the BBC, property developer Igloo Regeneration is refusing to reimburse staff who claim back cash spent on meat dishes because of the supposed effect animals bred for food have on climate change. When fleshing out its vegetarian policies last year, the company said it was trying to counter its environmental impact. A lawyer told the Beeb that the rule would amount to discrimination if the company took vegetarian claims off the table. The meat industry quickly hit back, with the Association of Independent Meat Suppliers slamming the policy as a load of claptrap by urban elite who don't understand British livestock farming. A village in northern Scotland has been holding emergency meetings after reports of deer terrorising locals. Aberdeen Press and Journal newspaper says the animals have caused a tick infestation and Lyme disease in Lochimber, Sutherland. The council is considering a cull after the increasingly aggressive deer damaged cars and trashed gardens. A local B&B owner told the paper a stag with huge antlers chased her while out walking her dog. Assynt Community Council Secretary Phil Jones says an expensive fence put up to try and keep the deer out failed, and the villagers are now desperate. He suggests a controlled cull could be the solution, and the council would contact the local deer management group. The RSPB is reviewing its policy on game bird shooting, and if you're a member, you can have your say. The organisation insists there is a growing public concern about the effect on the environment of some forms of shooting, including grouse shooting and the release of millions of non-native game birds each year, including pheasants and red-legged partridges. Other concerns include persecution of birds of prey, the culling of mountain hares and the impact of burning peatlands. Members will be emailed a survey this week, which will go towards its final review in the summer. The survey coincides with DEFRA's review into the sport. Thanks to eagle-eyed Nigel Bean for spotting that story. Owners of large grouse moors are threatening to sue the government over a plan to ban heather burning. Documents released to Friends of the Earth under the Freedom of Information Act show how landowners reacted in 2017 when the government started to draw up a compulsory ban after unsuccessfully trying to persuade the landowners to end the practice. More owners burn old heather to encourage regeneration. A Friends of the Earth spokesperson said the revelation showed how landowners were throwing their weight around. Thanks to Mark Corney for the story. Fancy wandering around our green and pleasant land, picking up crisp packets, fizzy drink cans and plastic bottles? Well, the Countryside Alliance has got just the thing. For the third year, it's organising a countryside clean-up for the weekend of the 28th and 29th of March. It's coordinating events across Britain. You can find out where and enlist in the war on litter at the Alliance's website. Animal rights activists claim that fox hunting is still going on. 15 years after Antis drew up laws to ban hunting with hounds, they admit their law has been a failure. The League Against Cruel Sport says hounds and hunts are still chasing foxes, deer and hares around the countryside and are being killed. The group accuses organisers of exploiting legal loopholes and say trail hunts are cover for illegal hunting. Among the Antis campaigns, they organised 9,000 people to sign a petition to ban a hunt from meeting in a Somerset village. The Mendip Farmers Hunt used Priddy's village green for meets several times a year. Priddy's population is just 600. While some Antis complain to the government, others take their battle to the countryside. Video of Sabs at the Wednesday last weekend and posted on Facebook appeared to show them abusing an 80-year-old man and threatening people with rocks. Language they used was far too colourful for sensitive Fieldsports channel viewers, so we've turned down the volume. Northwest Hunt Sab monitors, which posted the film, described the masked Sabs as caring and compassionate. The tip for that story came from Liz Bowring. Police in West Yorkshire raced to a scene where there were reports of a man shooting from a vehicle. They pulled over 18-year-old Levi Charlton and found an illegal air rifle in the boot of his car. He pleaded guilty to charges of possessing a firearm and moderator without certificates, according to the Huddersfield Examiner. Charlton said he needed the silencer because he was shooting rabbits. The finalists have been picked for the Hunting Video Awards 2020. You can vote for your favourite hunting videos in 3 categories at themonocular.com. Voting ends on the 13th of March and the awards show will be held in Copenhagen on the 2nd of April. A new study of gamekeepers says they are frequently unrecognised for their conservation work. A survey of 1,000 gamekeepers found that they provide 23,426 tonnes of supplementary food for farmland birds in winter, plant an average 117 acres of trees and privately fund more than £2.2 million worth of wild bird cover, according to the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust. Scottish Gamekeepers Association chairman Alex Hogg accuses the popular media of standing in the way of habitat rejuvenation or progress with stories that oppose gamekeeping. Commonwealth Games, archery and shooting will take place in India. Organisers of the 2022 Commonwealth Games will hold the events 6 months before the rest of the Games in Birmingham. The Commonwealth Games Federation initially dropped the events, but now they say they'll be held in Chandigarh in the far north of India. The U-turn came after India, which had traditionally done well in the shooting competitions, threatened to boycott the Games. If you've booked a hunting holiday in China recently, you may want to try and get a refund. Hunting is among the activities Beijing has banned, along with trading and consumption of wild animals in order to try and contain the spread of coronavirus. The virus, which has killed about 2,700 people in China, has been linked to wild animals sold at food markets. There have been calls for compensation for businesses and the millions of workers at animal breeding farms. The government is also cracking down on the illegal wildlife trade. Botswana has hit back at angry aunties complaining about it lifting the ban on elephant hunting. From April, hunters from all over the world will start heading to the country. The government has set a limit of 60 elephants in what it calls a sustainable management of wildlife. At about 130,000, Botswana boasts Africa's largest elephant population and says there are too many, leading to lives and livelihoods lost when they encroach on human territory. Environment Minister Philda Kareng asked South Africa's City Press whether the government should instead kill people and leave elephants to run Botswana. She accused animal rights groups of hypocrisy and told them to come and help when elephants kill people. And finally, the most dangerous animal in Africa took a gentle stroll past a convenience store. Workers at the shop in the South African town of St. Lucia posted the video of the animal on Facebook and insisted the hippo was out looking for snacks and returned to a nearby lake after grazing around town for a bit. They say it happens all the time. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Now, last week we saw Paul dealing with pesky pigs in Portugal. Now it's rural roaming reds. We're back on the Montería Magical Mystery Tour. Sergio's sat-nav takes us to the tradesman's entrance of a farm deep in the Portuguese countryside. You can almost hear Clarkson shouting, "Hammond!"
So close and so far. Just to add a little bit of excitement to the thing, you know. It was getting too boring, you know.
The local hunters make their way across the bendy bridge while the Danish hunting party we are with abandons the coach to watch the prize bull make the crossing without fuss.
Interesting journey here, but it looks like it's promising, doesn't it? This place looks untouched.
Fantastic place. It's like going back in time. The all the land down the bottom there. It's like old-fashioned farmland. You've got the cows out on the stubble. You've got loads of stalks out in the field. It's just wild. It's like old and wild. So we could have seen some interesting things. Hopefully today we might see some boar again, and hopefully we might see maybe some big boys coming through. So that'd be good.
It's another gem of a place, harvesting cork and a strain of rice. The wild boar eat the rice and devour the cork oak's acorns, a high-energy crop which the farmer would rather have untouched for his cattle to eat. So to the rescue comes Sergio and Tiago with some eager hunters. This style of community pest control is how Montería started.
The Montería is always been to reduce population. In the old times, the Montería was when the farmers start complaining a lot about damage from the wild boar or whatever it was, the council would organize a Montería. All the locals will grab their guns, dogs, and will make a big drive a day just to lower the population. And that's what the Montería is. Now agriculture is bigger, so that guys that have the dogs, some of them is the full-time job. The first place that we went never been hunted this year. It was already planned for this hunt many moons ago, and he held the damage for a little bit longer because he knew he was going to get paid for it. So the boar benefit for that, and we benefit for that, and the farmer benefit for that, and everybody's happy. Suddenly the boar becomes nice, they even put feed out and everything, which is good, so it's no longer a problem.
Paul is not the only Brit here. Gamekeeper Steve Stringer is an old friend of his who's come out as part of the Danish party. It's his second time here, and the timing of the hunt coincides perfectly with the end of the shooting season back home.
Bit of R&R, yeah. Second time out here, and yeah, it's lovely. Come and get a bit of sun, bit of shooting, get away from the Welsh rain. It's fantastic. Yeah.
And the appeal, why have you come back?
The whole thing really. Good trip with my mates from Scandinavia, good gang, live from Scotland, and then just the whole tradition of it. It's not a fenced area, it's all wild. It's that anticipation that you get in that rifle ready and think, come on. And then they move away and it's like you're up on cloud 9, and then you're down in the dumps and you think, oh, it's moved away, and then you bang. But, so yeah, it's exciting, isn't it?
This time, Paul picks a position on the outer perimeter of the guns. The only hope is we get a few of the more cunning animals slipping past our sharp-shooting Danes, making for the river behind. There are plenty of shots fired, but not by us. We don't get a sniff. But there are plenty of boar on display back at base.
Yeah, shame really, because I thought that would have been quite a nice little gully for them to come out, but I think they got cut off on the way. So that's hunting, and we'll try for the next spot. Woo-hoo!
There is always tomorrow, Paul. We are heading to ground we've hunted before. Years ago, Tim Pilbeam joined Sergio for the Red Rut here. There are a lot of transient stags, but there's also a resident population which needs managing. The topography is different to what we've been used to, and when we arrive at our stand, Paul has to get to work to cover the big landscape in front.
Basically, we've been given the spot, and I was expecting it to be like 40-50 yard shots. A lot of the guys that have come from Denmark and that brought a lot of sticks, and now I can see why, because we've got 200 yard shots out there, and I'm not shooting them with, well, I'm not confident in shooting 200 yard freehand running deer, so I made myself a quick pair of sticks out the old eucalyptus, and yeah, we'll get them botched up, and then we'll have a nice little pair of sticks. Oh yes.
He tries his elasticated mascara pouch, but that doesn't work, so instead he goes for the webbing on his Shooter King rucksack.
Oh yes, I am proud. Patent eucalyptus sticks.
For this trip, Paul has brought the Sacco Finlight 2 for a number of reasons, the main one being familiarity. He's been using it a lot for work.
It's a good rifle actually for this sort of hunting. It's got the customised cheek piece, so when you're dicking a rifle up, it comes straight up to position, so you haven't got to readjust eye relief on the scope. The other feature of this rifle is the grips, really comfortable grips. Probably more for the work side of things for me is Cerakoted barrel. You can be pretty brutal with your cleaning, so you haven't got to clean it so much. You know, you get blood and water and stuff on it, so quick wipe down, it's fine.
After an hour of willing wildlife to appear, we hear dogs coming closer and movement below.
Get ready for that. There he is. On the far bank. On the far bank. There he is. Huh? I can't see him. Oh, there he is. I don't want to talk about it, David. I'm on that downward roller coaster ride at the moment. Yeah, basically, boar comes the bottom corner there, and it's massive. Basically, gives a quick window down here, and then they're amazing. He used all the contours, all the cover, and he just went into the bottom of the ravine type area, out the cover, in the cover, and then he snuck straight up the bank up there behind it. And it's like you could just see a bit. It's a massive, big thing. You see him, and then when he stopped, he was facing the wrong direction, and when he was even going up through there, he couldn't get a good shot. He's just facing away from you all the time. And then he came out the top and he, well, actually, quite annoyed about that one. It's what you want. It's like almost like for a driven hunter, I think a big kyler coming through like that, or a big pig coming through like that, it's like the biggest adrenaline rush you can get. Just all but it slip out your hand. The old fish that got away. Anyway, on to the next.
Back at the hunting lodge, a beautiful mount looks down as the shoot celebrates Tiago's birthday. It's followed by an amazing looking and tasting paella that will feed an army. Paul needs his strength and he only has one drive left to add to the bag.
Chance saloon. We are ready. We are in a pig of an awkward spot to be in. We got 25 metres, 25 metres, 20 metres, 10 metres, thick stuff everywhere. So basically, scope's went right down. It's going to be, hear it, where's where you come in, see it, smoke it. Or it's just to be a boar charging straight at us. Be quite cool. So yeah, it'd be good. We got it.
The scrub is tight, so if we do get in touch with any animals, the window of opportunity will be limited. And when 3 reds appear, that's exactly what he has to deal with.
So you're saying 100%?
I'm saying 100%, yeah. They tickle through there. There's 3 basically, and they come through. And it's basically see them, not see them, yes, no, nice. And then they were there, tickling through. And I just shot the last one, the younger one. And it disappearing into the cover, so. But shot sounded good. Good strike sound. 50 metres, crashing sound. And when they come through all of this, they never made a noise at all, so. I'm going for 100%. What are you, David?
No.
Okay, thanks, mate. No, we're good. The crash give it away as well.
And they just tripped.
Pardon?
Maybe they just
Yeah,
tripped.
don't trip like that. It sounds like it's fell in a bunch of sticks and branches crashed in it. Amazing they come through, there's no noise at all, is there? No noise at all.
Paul is confident, but we have to wait 20 minutes until the end of the drive.
Good strike mark. stood. Can't even see where we stood, look. How thick it is. Oh yeah, look. That's where we come from. So perfect. Perfect strike, mind you. Just clearing into here. Boom. Blood everywhere, look. Straight down through here.
There is a fantastic blood trail, and 40 yards into the cover, we find our young staggy.
100%. Yeah. A bad shot for through the bushes. Might have made up for my boar. Perfect. Young calf, isn't it? Calf from last year. Ideal. Great.
It's a thrilling finish to our 3 days of traditional wild Montería. If you fancy doing one yourself, speak to Sergio. He's got it all covered. For more information, go to circuitwildharvest.com, and to find out more about Sacco rifles and bullets, go to sacco.fi. Thank you, Paul and Sergio, and well done with the stick whittling. With the way things are going with shooting at the moment, that may be all we'll have to film soon. Now, fans of Sacco, and that film was brought to us from Portugal by Sacco, will have noticed that the S20 rifle launched last week, and we made a film about it literally hours before it launched. One arrived, we drove it up, Paul Childerley, and he unboxed it for us. If you want to see that film, you can click on the link on the screen or in the description below. Next up, from Portugal to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. County deer stalking is run by Peter Jones. He is the one dragged through the Daily Star last weekend for committing the crime of deer stalking. I have to say, they have more than 500,000 front pages to get through before they've done with all of us shooters. Well, Peter flicks 2 fingers at the tabs with this film, Hunting the Mythological White Hart. German gunmaker Zauer is at Tulchan in Scotland for an event called the Ladies McNab Challenge, where Lucy Botskiller and friends attempt to stalk a red stag, shoot a brace of grouse and catch a salmon in a single day. Per Homeseth sends in this film, Vintage Rifle-Driven Hunt in Hungary, with Cap and Ball, who tells the story of what is believed to be the first ever driven hunt with vintage rifles in one of the great European driven hunting nations, Hungary. In South Africa, Air Hunters puts out Easy Hunting, airgun pest control, a test of the prototype Easy Shot Chair from FX, and a look at scopes from Element Optics. Back in the UK, Corvid Hunter is out with his airgun, and this time his son, Cohen. He scores a mixed winter bag in UK woodland and more or less keeps out of the stormy weather. Gwyn at DJ Decoys is also facing rough weather. He's decoying pinks with Banus Greys on a small grass field using 48 Enforcer Pinkfoot windsocks. 90 minutes sees them shoot 6 grey lags and 6 pinks, and the labs give them some great retrieves. Mark Knott met me at the British Shooting Show this year. Here's his latest ferreting video from the official Team Ferret channel. Thanks, Mark. And finally, with the UK government's trophy hunting consultation over on Tuesday and Zach Goldsmith and Boris Johnson's promise that hunting tourism will soon be banned, you might be forgiven for thinking that the hunting organisations have sat back and done zilch. Well, nothing could be further from the truth, and to prove it, here is one of a series of good quality videos put together by Safari Club International to put their arguments to DEFRA. This is the head of Zim Parks making the case for hunting tourism. That's it. I've put all these films into a playlist for you. Click on the I symbol top right or check this film's description. If you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Well, that's it for this week. If you haven't done so already, please pop over to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv. Click to like us there on Facebook, on Instagram. You can click to follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and of course pop your email address into our register page. And you can back us. Go to fchannel/fieldsportsnation. Link in the description below to find out how to do that. We're out every Wednesday, 7 PM with Field Sports Britain. We'll see you next week. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.